Yeah, so I like to travel, as you can tell, and of course there's friends all over the world. Once you get out there, you know, like I remember being on the funicular, which is a ratchet railroad in Bergen, in Norway, and there was a sign that said, "Switch off your mobile phone." And I thought, that didn't say anything about amateur radio. So I pull out my VX1, which is like half a watt max, put it down to 0.1 and transmit on the local repeater. Well, blimey, 3 blokes came back. No ladies, but 3 blokes. And he instantly invited me to lunch. Right? You're okay, you know, it wasn't HF, but a VK in Norway is worth 10 dB. Okay, so here we are. What are we doing today? So the challenge is always which antenna. Now often people take a piece of wire, which is great. You can do an awful lot with wire, and a dipole is the antenna to have. Trouble is you've got to mount it somewhere. So what do you do when you're on the 3rd floor hotel room in Warsaw? You know, I mean, you can't hang anything, right? It doesn't go well. Of course, you can't even open the sliding door because it's all sealed. So that's a lead up to the magnetic loops, okay? I've tried many antennas, and the loop to me is a go-to. It's small, right? You can put it in your carry-on. And I'm a bit of a checkbook amateur sometimes. So this cost me $500 Australian. It's just outrageous. But Eric saw it and says, I think I can duplicate that. Can I borrow it for a week? And blimey, he did. And blimey, he made one for probably almost nothing.
It cost me $50.
There we go, right? So I'll tell you all about the technical specs in a minute. So what I'm going to try and do first is show you how I assemble it, because that's the crux of the matter. That's one of its advantages, that it's easy up and it works pretty well. So the heaviest part of this is a tripod. You don't need a tripod, but holding it all the time gets a bit tiresome. So today I'm going to use a tripod. Okay. So we'll just sort of give ourselves a bit of a thing. Oh, I hope this works. Oh, come on, you can do it. He thinks he doesn't want to go. It's going to be a bit wobbly if I do that.
Other end?
Possibly. No. Oh, the other end? It doesn't matter which end, because it'll organise itself. There we go. All right, so now the Alex loop. Da-da-da, drum roll please. Hey, there we go. All right, there's some extra bits that I've got, which is I can do this, right? But then the ceiling's a bit high. I've got a bit of a long cable, but I'm not going to use it. So here we go. This is going to take longer than it really does because I'm going to explain as I go along. This is the one of the key things. It's a variable capacitor, butterfly. It's a dual gang. It's about 200 picofarad. Okay, keep that. That's a fact you need to remember. So what do we do with the thing? Well, we have a bit here. Oops, no, we don't. Yep, there we go. One bit, right? Second bit. Now, you'll notice that these are not original. Okay, is Brian Con? No, he's not. So what happened was I lost this bit. And the bit that Alex Loop fame supplied was slightly different to what you can get in Australia. So had to do all that, and thankfully Brian did it for me. The second element is the actual radiating loop. My goodness, that's small. Okay, that's the actual radiating loop. All right. Bit of Velcro to confound us. So that kind of goes here. And just to be neat and tidy, we can just, there's a bit of Velcro on the back by design. Oops, there we go. Just hold it nicely. Okay, and lastly, bit of RG213. Not very exotic materials, have we? There we go. How long is it? That long. Okay. What do we do with it? Well, I'll do it this way, right? The trick is to get this bit as close as possible to the radiating element. There we go. We're done. And then you plug that in. Obviously gold connectors are, obviously better. PL259. Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy? Okay. We're done. Okay? I mean, even with my talking, that wasn't long. So there is a captive feed line, and it actually came with a PL259. Yeah, so my KX3 has got a BNC. So all I do is I whack it in. I can't move the KX3 anywhere because, I say, I didn't expect that in here. Oh.
Interference.
Oh, that'll do. Don't think anyone's going to notice. Okay, tuning, there's two ways. So first of all, I've turned the tuner off in the KX3. Okay, who else has got a KX3? I know Al has. Anybody else got one? Yep, okay, you'll know how wonderful they are. They've got an internal tuner that'll tune just about anything. You can just throw out a piece of wire and it'll tune it. How will it radiate? Yeah. Whatever happens. So one of the easy things about a magnetic loop with its own effectively internal tuner, this is a transformer, right? And here, I might turn that around so you can see. There's a little, the dial here. Can you hear the sound? So you can tune for maximum volume. Of course, there's a dial here that says it's near 30 and we're at, 21 megahertz. So around about, we're losing it. I reckon that's it. Is it perfect? No. I might be able to do this by myself, but okay. So on the left-hand side here, on the KX3, there's a little button. Maybe I'll just move that a bit, see better. On a KX3, all the yellow stuff means long press, and the white stuff means short press. So this button says XMIT, which we all know is transmit because they misspelled it. And so I'm just going to transmit into my Alex loop. It's going to be 2 watts because I've set it to do that. Or maybe it's 5 watts, I don't know. It's 1.5 watts, all right? Oh, that's terrible. I didn't get it at all, right? Oh, sorry. Here we go. We're tuned. Okay. It's very, sorry about that, but at least you know something's happening. You've got a radiation detector. The tuning range, every time you move a bit, and we'll do that, Let's move down a bit. All right, so now we were perfectly tuned, and one would think that, you know, you'd be pretty close. Ah, still okay. That surprises me, actually. If I go down a little bit more, just for fun, now we're getting out of whack. But you just walk over to your little antenna, and you give it a tad. Notice that as I get closer and, you know, it doesn't like it. So it gets a little bit iffy. Whoa, but look how quick it gets out of tune. So it's a very narrow band. Extremely, whoops, I missed it, didn't I? Oh, come on, you can do it. Oh, I was good. Okay, I'm not. But you get the message. So as you go near 30 megahertz, so we're at 28, let's say. Again, this will be pretty awful, right? But it should be more broadband and easier to tune. So I'm going that way, I think. Hello? Oops, I missed it, didn't I? The trouble is I'm standing right next to it and there's an awful lot of metal around. I actually am quite surprised because
You
this is...
You really need to be totally below it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I'm not that short.
Yes, you are.
Oh, come on. Well, okay. So this is, to me, there's metal everywhere, and I would have thought that this would have trouble. Let me just turn this off. Sorry? Yeah. Oh, my God, there's somebody there. It's a broadcast.
What frequency are you on?
Well, that's 320.
28, 320.
320. I'm on 230.
Yeah. So you are very close.
Yeah, let me go up to 320. There is a way to make him go fast, but I'm not going to. I shouldn't transmit, should I? Oh, they won't know. Okay. Look, I'm just going to leave it like that.
Robot.
Okay. So it does work. Thank you, AR New South Wales Broadcast. All right. Oops. I might just go somewhere else. In fact, how about we get out of here? Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I know you're here.
They know I'm here. Okay. So let me tell you about the good things. I'll turn this off because it's no longer required. The good things. The good thing is easy up. Okay? Non-exotic materials. Nothing, no electronics. Okay. What are the bad things? When I first got this, it worked fabulously, and then it didn't. And I went, what the hell? And you can't test it, you know, your traditional, get your multimeter and see if there's a short, because the bloody thing is a short, right? Once you put one side of the coax on this end, and the other side there. It's a continuous loop, right? So you can't test it. Well, after much thinking, I took it apart. And guess what? One leg was badly soldered. Naughty Alex.
Sounds like MFJ.
He's taking lessons.
He is Brazilian solder.
Brazilian solder. Yeah, lovely man, great ideas, and obviously worked a lot. But, you know...
He's retired.
He's retired now? Or...
MFJ have just...
Oh, I'm MFJ. Sorry, I thought it was Alex, yeah.
No, we're talking about that.
So I resoldered it. It's a bit hard to solder. You need a hot soldering iron. And of course, there's a tiny little hole in the back that you've got to thread it through. Okay, but that's no big deal in the end. The second, well, it's not a bad thing, but the other part of the equation of how to make one is that the inner and the outer of the coax are connected. It's not a transmission line. It's just a piece of wire. nice thick piece of wire. And that's the beauty of it. Now, this is not particularly critical size. Yours is a little bit bigger or small? About the same, all right? Okay. Yeah, a magnetic loop is defined as one being less than 1/8 of a wavelength on the frequency of transmission. Okay? Now this is obviously smaller, much smaller, considering that that's the radiating element in the first place. Okay? In World War II, of course, they used them as direction finding. The other good thing is that it's radiating that way, and so there's a bit of a null this way, a bit, not fantastic, but so if you've got noise, there we go. Or if you want to improve the signal, you can just sort of, twist it around until you get it. That's a good thing. Okay, back to the bad things. Number one, metal. Doesn't like metal. I was in a hotel room on the Gold Coast, and I thought, I'll put it on a balcony, out in the thing. Well, wouldn't tune. I thought, well, all right, I'll bring it inside. Tune like that. Just got away from that metal rail, okay, and probably a bit of metal mesh or something, I don't know, up the top, down the bottom, who knows. So that's one thing, metal, you've got to get it away. The other thing is it really ought to be about at least 1 metre above ground. Doesn't like being near ground. And in fact, it's better and better as you go up. The problem is my arm's not that long. So what you can do is... Oh, no room. Sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. You can do that and then put it down. Okay. By the way, this is vertically polarised, horizontally polarised, right? You can also do this. No reason why you can't do this. Okay, or this, right? It's light enough to not worry about it. Okay. So, this is quite an old antenna now. It'll be 8 years, shall we say? Well before, this is much longer than that. All right, fine. It's discontinued. You lucky sods.
I mean, I've been in Denison for 10 years. And
it was before then? Oh, well, there we go. See? Time flies when you're having fun. So this is Alex's...
How much power could you put through it?
20 watts maximum.
Yeah, that's another...
These are only designed for low power. I only use it for 5 watts normally with my FT817. My understanding is you get a very high voltage on the capacitor.
Don't be near it when you're transmitting. It'll hurt.
You get very high current.
And very high voltage as well. Yeah. I use it for, on the KX3, which will do about 15 watts if you give it, like 14 volts or something like that. So this is Alex's, Alex PY1AHD, Alex. He invented this an awful long time. Not invented it, I suppose. He tested it and perfected it, and he brought it to life. This is kind of the portables of portable. Now,
a lot of very interesting information on his site.
Yeah, you can literally, you can use the specs. He gives away the specs to make one, right? Very strange marketing. So what if you want that to be over there and you're here? He's got a remote tuner. I think it uses either Bluetooth or something like that. Yeah. I don't, or maybe just a wire, I don't know. But he's made that. He's also made some incredible, strange things. One of the nice things, and I might try and replicate it, and I don't know if I can find the thing. It's there we are.
In the early times of his experimentation, he experimented with a lot of home-built capacitors for it. including things like 2 aluminium cans, one inside the other, and he actually had that on a he
there we
used
go.
hypodermic syringes
Yes.
with water in them,
G'day.
and so you could remotely tune it by moving that in.
That's right, yeah. So he's done a lot of things. So this is the latest version of that capacitor box, all right? And if my mouse will show, yeah, my mouse does show, right. See up there? There's a little LED. And basically, it's a tune indicator. When you transmit, you're putting energy into it. And what he does is so simple. You just coil some wire around out here, right? And at the end, put the legs of a LED on it. That's it, right? You transmit. As you tune, it'll get brighter when the SWR is low. It's fantastic. In other words, when it's able to put out more power. Maximum current flow. Yeah, that's right. So that's, to me, that's a modification I should make, but I don't need one because there's an SWR meter inside this. Okay. Any questions? Any more questions so far? Where do you get it? Make it yourself. Much cheaper. You can see it's just a bit of plumbing and a little bit of soldering. Not a lot, not much. The hard part is getting the capacitor. Find a capacitor. I'm sure there's one in there.
When information goes to capacitor,
Yes, 200 picofarad.
I use SCR522P8 split stator capacitor in mine,
You made one?
a bigger one,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get enough capacity, so I stuck a 12,000 amp across it.
Oh, okay.
And I peaked up and click, dead short, so I put 2 in series.
The trick with the capacitors is you put your loop onto the 2 stators. So you basically got 2 capacitors in series, which vastly increases its voltage capability.
Handling capability, yeah.
But it halves the capacitance. So mine they're almost 500 picofarads per side to get around 250.
415 to 500 is typical for broadcast caps.
Yeah.
The other trick, if you want to insulate the shaft, is rubber fuel hose. Not rubber fuel hose, sorry. But you've got to be careful with fuel hoses. It often has carbon in it. So you get you can get just straight neoprene hose or even PVC hose and just force it over. And if it wants to turn, put a hose clamp around it.
The other thing with the tap is you want a reduction drive on it. Yeah.
So, to me, it's just such a fantastic antenna for travelling with. Fits into your travel bag and all that. But it's got limitations. It's got the metal bit, yep.
Even with 20 watts, you wouldn't want to be too close to it when you're transmitting, would
I like to be about here.
Its near field's very strong, isn't it?
Near field is very strong. But does it work? Well, bloody hell, it does. I think my best in memory was 5 watts from La Perouse to 60 kilometres west of Paris. Right? Oh, I mean, he had the Yagi. And he was excited. Yeah, so, and as you can tell, it does work. I think he didn't get too much change out of $5,000. And it didn't work like this. It wasn't, nothing like it. So what happened was he's got 2 metal bits with, I think, a motor that the capacitor is actually 2 plates, air gap, and the motor pushes one side in and out. And I don't know what the rating is, but it's certainly at least 100 watts.
One of the Waverley Club members...
And remote tuning.
It's actually, the loop is actually now in tubing.
Henrik,
yeah. And he's got a vacuum capacitor there with a motor drive on it.
Yeah, and is it an Arduino or some single board? single board processor, something like that.
When you can do it just with a switch going one way.
Yeah, yeah.
And for what it's worth, MFJ make a couple as well, while stocks last. But they've got remote tuner as well, tunes down the coax.
Yes,
It goes
yes.
down the coax.
Well, but for the fact that I haven't, Alex has also made a motor drive, so you can, remotely tune it. But as I say, I think at Adelaide, was it?
Yep.
Adelaide, we had a guy who made it was like a triple loop. It was like that, or double. It was just amazing.
But that one went down to 80 metres.
Yeah, that's right. So this, the other downside is it'll only go down to 40 metres. No 80 metres. However,
You go to a bigger loop,
you can go a bit of loop.
which is why you did it with the double turn one. And of course, it's a lot more inductance. Goes much lower in frequency.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. Oops, where are we going? No, go down. This is an experiment. I haven't done this. What's it trying to do there? Put into some sort of a mode where it's trying to do something else. Come on.
47.
What? Well, first of all, you want to see the. This is CW. Let me just get back to. Okay. That's a bit high. Oh, that'll do.
47, that's only 3 kilohertz.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to 3.5. I don't know. Maybe go back to here. I'm transmitting. Okay. So it's really, really bad. So while I'm doing that, I'll go to the end, which is that way.
Raffi's just been magnetised.
Right. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the tuner. Come on. Yes.
Tune for minimum smoke.
Right. Now, I reckon this will work. What's your problem again? Is it radiate well? Okay. So,
The problem is you're putting more losses into it because you've got
yeah, of course, all of the above.
absolutely no point.
So what's the frequency here? Is it we still broadcasting?
What band are you
80?
80. 3595.
The club is a recording place at
Yeah, this
85
big
the club has excellent
Oh, well, you don't need an antenna, fellas. All right.
This session is now invalid.
Okay. Look. Sorry? Yeah, yeah, well, it's all right. I can just move the radio. Yes.
With 2 turns of heliacs that size, we worked out that by moving the ends closer and further apart from bottom, you could tune all of 20 metres.
Wow.
So that was with usual 1/2-inch heliac. We just checked it out with a coil
Yeah.
and yeah.
So for those people who are sort of antenna space challenged and they don't have too much metal about, this is an answer. You can operate, and currently the sunspot cycle is, it's at its peak or close to its peak, so you can actually get huge distances. All right.
I've got one
Yeah.
similar to that.
Yes.
I used aluminium bar, and
Yep.
I worked from Pennant Hills to Byron Bay, no problem.
Yep.
Did a bit more research, and I've just finished building the W6 NBC.
Not sure what that is.
He's a broadcast engineer, and he said, we're doing magnetic loops all wrong. He said, we're copying bad designs all the time. He said, what you need to do is get some PVC pipe, 2-inch minimum, aluminium foil around it, make up a trombone capacitor, and I'm here to tell you it works like a dream. I can tune 1 to 1 from 40 to 10.
And it's $12.
I think it cost me $40 or $50 to build.
Yeah, fantastic.
It works like a dream.
But you can't roll it up and put it in a bag and take it.
Before I built it, I measured the back of my SUV to make sure.
Yeah, thank you, yes.
So one of the attractions also is you don't need a sophisticated ground, but do you need any ground at all? Or should you
Keep it away from
Look, as I said, the higher it is, actually the better it works. It could be line of sight things, or it could be better angle at the horizon. The convenience level is that you can actually do it like this.
Yeah, but say if you had a block of units or something like that.
Oh yeah,
set
even
up
better,
on the balcony,
even better.
What do you do
There's,
about the
there's,
ground? Nothing?
you've got to get away from effectively a metal,
Yeah.
which kind of is like ground as well. So the answer, I guess, is that get away from ground. Further away, the better. There must be a limit. I don't know, is there?
No, but do you ground your radio with the tuner?
I don't think it is.
No, I'm just asking.
I mean, you're it.
That's the problem. Your ground.
I never try and ground
Yeah.
the radio with that. Mind you, we are talking about low power. Right? Yes.
What's the gain or loss of an antenna like this compared to halfway?
Well, I don't think it's as good as a dipole, right? I don't think it's gain. What it is it uses the magnetic part of the electromagnetic wave, which is more resistant to noise, right? So you get a lot of benefit from that. I don't think there's gain. I think it's more like
It does
loss.
have gain, but it's negative.
Yeah, that's the one.
Have you got a sort of number?
I don't know. No idea. No, and I think it depends, frequency dependent.
Yeah.
I think it's the size of your loop. I mean, this one, Alex never claims a gain. He doesn't claim a loss. All he says is, it works. And he's got videos all over the place of him walking portable with his remote, hydraulic tuning, right, with the thing on strap, coming out of his head so he can properly irradiate his head, make him more crazy than he really is. I don't know. Or, at the end of the day, it works, yes.
I've got one of these at home.
Alex loop or?
Yeah, genuine.
Oh, yeah.
And out of curiosity, I set up on a Bunnings barbecue table outside my garage, 705, and I've got a double at 450 ohms, blah, 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 to my base station, listening to a conversation on 14 megs. And it was a fairly good signal, and I forget the exact test points, but it doesn't matter. But I tuned into the exact same conversation sitting at the barbecue table, and it was about 1.5 test points down, but it's perfectly readable.
Yeah.
I didn't try and go back to them because they were DX stations having a chat, so I didn't want to break in. But it was quite, in listening, there's no difference in the audio compared to sitting outside compared to my base station.
That's my experience too.
I've also seen Americans use these as their receive.
Oh,
Transmit on something else,
it's the
but
second
because
receiver,
it's low noise.
and it's small.
Yeah,
And it's small. Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. I might show you how to take down the Alex loop. Right? The hard part of taking it down is folding this damn thing into the into its case. Right? You've got to do it so that it fits that way. And it often surprises me that this doesn't eventually break, but I suppose it's cheap to replace.
Why do you join the inner and outer? Why not just...
I don't join the inner and outer. It's just there's more metal, because
But it's all
there'll be
bad.
shielding. If you only do the inner, there'll be sort of shielding, which is
Oh, yeah.
the opposite of what you want.
No, you'd only do the outer, but I just
Yeah, that's right.
think there'd be an advantage of connecting.
There we go. Oh, I did it. Isn't that good?
My one I've got in not quite the same bag as that, but I have that, plus my FT817 and all its auxiliary bits and pieces in the same bag. So I had the whole station in a bag
Whole laptop bag.
when we went to Norfolk Island.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this fits in so nicely. And
There is another point too, you can hang them rather than actually stick them up on a pole.
Yep.
it doesn't matter how you do it, in the end of the day, there's hardly anything in it. And of course, if you don't want this and you've got yourself a table of the right dimensions, it's that easy. There we go. Just in case, what else do I need? I think that's about it. There we go. The end. Thank you very much.